So today's video is a modern, I call it modern, sofa armrest that I'm making with a removable top. I've always wanted this, so I thought I'll just build one from leftover plywood. So for the three sides of the tray, I'm using a 12-inch squared measurement just to make it easier, and then the top tray would be 9.5 inches, and then the bottom of the magazine basket, magazine holder, I had that cut at 5-inch wide, and then with the two sides connected to it, it ended up becoming 6.5 inch wide, but it's actually the inside width will still be 5 inches, and you'll see why I had it cut to that width later on in the video. You might be wondering why I have my miter gauge on the other side of the board. I've found out that it gives me some leverage whenever I'm cutting boards that are longer and I couldn't fit the miter gauge at the back of the board. So having it at the front and pushing the board against the miter gauge whilst maintaining a firm grip on both of them really does help me to make straight miter cuts, or whatever it is, angle cuts or straight cuts. It helps a lot than having to keep the board straight without the miter gauge. I hope that makes sense. Just in case I didn't mention it at the start of the video, I have all the sides cut to 12 inches, and the sides that are smaller than 12 inches will be the top shelf or the top tray, which is cut at 9.5 inches by 12 inches, and then the bottom of the magazine shelf is cut at 5 inches wide, but with the two sides attached to it, it becomes 6.5 inches, but the inside of it will still be 5 inches wide. This pocket hole jig by Craig is one of my favorite tools in the shop. It's very easy to use because you don't have to worry about the thickness of the board, because it will adjust to the thickness of the board. The clamp on it will adjust to the thickness of the board. The only thing you have to really adjust is how the depth of the drill bit, which you set using the depth gauge that is attached to the drill. At this point, I'm just realizing I have made a mistake and drilled the wrong board to attach the bottom of the magazine holder. I was supposed to have drilled the two sides of the bottom tray there, which is what I just did, and then I'll have to cover the extra pocket holes with the pocket hole covers or pegs. I'm not sure what exactly they're called, but they're decorative covers that can be used to cover the pocket holes. I'm just using I'm attaching it with my favorite or my go-to glue, which is the Tight Bond Quick and Thick. I like it because it dries clear and it dries quickly, and it's thick. You don't have to put too much of it, and with that I'm adding the screws, the Craig screws. I'm just using 2 screws for each side, and that, I think that should be strong enough to hold the structure together. And now I'm just using a 120 grit sandpaper to sand it down to get rid of any sharp edges and any splinters that might be there. I'm planning on staining it, but I haven't decided on the stain yet, so I'm gonna leave it as it is for now, and then once I decide which finish I want to finish it, I will do that and I'll share it in another video. So I've added some of the pocket hole pegs, but apparently the white ones that I was going to use on the insides won't fit on all of them because of how the pocket holes were drilled. Well, because of how the pocket holes are attached to the sides. So I'm using the wooden ones, which are not my favorite. But then rather than having to file them down, I thought of just taking some of the material off using the belt sander. It was a lot quicker to use that to take some of the material off rather than having to sand it down with the orbital sander or even my finished sander. Once I was done covering the pocket holes, I used the sandpaper from the sander, from the orbital sander, and just hand sanded the insides of the magazine holder, and then I just vacuumed the dust, as much of it as I can get off using the vacuum. Now it was time to do the removable top of the armrest table, tray, whatever it's called. I'll call it a table. And I wanted to be able to have my water bottle, which you probably can see on the left side there. I wanted to make sure it fits there because I have it with me most of the time. So in as much as I would like to fit coffee mugs on it, I want to be able to fit my water bottle there as well. And of course I added a slot there to hold a tablet or an iPad or cell phone. So I just marked the width of that and used the bandsaw to cut it. Here are a couple of bandsaw tips there. You may already know about it. It's kind of similar to what I did with the table saw. I have the miter gauge in reverse and I'm using it as leverage to cut this board, which it was longer than the top of the bandsaw tabletop. And now to cut a longer piece of strip that won't go through the bandsaw, I'm just tilting it a little bit to an angle after marking where I want to cut it, and then I cut it at a slight angle. Now I have a shorter piece that I can just cut at the exact spot where I marked it. As you can see, I have my miter gauge in the usual position, and use it to push the piece to cut it. There you have a clean cut. After sanding down the top tray, it was time to cut out the hole for the cup holder. This is nice seeing the wall. It reminded me of playing with a spinning top as a kid. With the cup holder cut out, I used a 15-degree angle to cut the slot for the tablet holder, or the tablet stand, or tablet cradle, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it a cradle. Now I'm attaching some strong magnets to the removable top as well as the top of the shelf to make sure the removable part is secure when it's placed on top. It's not supposed to move, but it's just for double assurance. And that's pretty much it. It was time to test it out. It fit perfectly on the arm of the chair there. As I've said earlier in the video, the magazine holder is wider. That way you can store the tabletop when it's not in use. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching the video. I want you to know I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you like the video, please click on the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And please share it with someone else who might appreciate the video. Thank you and God bless. I'll see you on the next video. Until then, all you need is a little faith and a little DIY action to tackle any DIY task or project.